Hello my dear friends, in the last video we have solved a problem on shafts. That is, I have taken a uniform cross-sectional shaft element which has a 50 diameter fixed with both ends and applied torque on 2 points of the uniform cross-sectional shaft element, that is at B and C point. Modulus of rigidity and polar moment of inertia has remained same for all element what we have chosen to convert a continuum body in terms of a finite element body. Now this problem is quite tricky and different from the previous problem. Carefully all of you get the idea. Problem number 2 on torsion of shaft. A composite step shaft as shown in figure Q2. Yes, stated the name of this given figure is a composite step. What does it mean? Let's we check out. Composite step means he has used a aluminium for step number 1 and for step number 2 steel he has used. The made up of shaft is with the help of two materials. Two materials are used to make this shaft element, which is a completely different material, means we'll say that is a composite step of shaft as shown in figure. Two different materials has been used to make the shaft is said to be as a composite shaft. We have a different cross sectional area with respect to the position to position, we'll say as a stepped shaft. Then consists of an aluminium section. This is the aluminium section 50 in diameter, 50 in diameter, and a steel section 25 in diameter. 25 in diameter steel section has been given. The ends of the shafts are fixed. This a very important sentence. All of you remember it. We'll solve the problem. The ends of the shafts are fixed. As stated, ends of the shaft is fixed, but in the diagram we are seeing here only one end is fixed. Rest of the all portion of the shaft element is free and applied torque in the free ends. You check out here, but in the statement he has stated the ends of the shafts are fixed. That indicates this end and last end is fixed. The both ends are fixed, where the displacement or torsional displacement is equals to 0. Then determine the maximum stress in the aluminium and steel shaft. Take rigidity modulus GS is equals to 84 gigapascals. GS means a rigidity modulus for a steel material. GAL means rigidity modulus for a aluminium material, 28 gigapascals. And torque has been applied on this aluminium material at the point B with a distance of a fixed point towards this point B. From point A to point B, maintain the distance 200 Similarly, point C, the end corner of the aluminium material is free, and then the step number 2 will get start with the material steel and ends at point D. There has been applied a torque. There is no value of the torque is been given, that is equals to 0 to confuse the student. He has given ends of the shafts are fixed. Only they will make the confused to the student. Don't have the confusion. Read correctly and make it. This should be as a fixed. Torque is equals to 0. There is no value. Instead of fixed, they have applied the direction of torque without the values. Then now we got the idea what we have to determine here. Determine the maximum stress in aluminium and steel material. We need to find out a stress in aluminium and steel of the shaft, that is a shear stress induced in a shaft element for a aluminium material is equals to question mark shear stress induced in a steel member is equals to question mark. Both the values we need to find out. Now what he has given data we'll take here. Take GS is equals to 84 gigapascal, that is equals to 8.4 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per millimeter square. Similarly, for a aluminium, this is for a steel. Now for aluminium we have GAL is equals to 28 gigapascal. When we'll convert in terms of a Newton per millimeter in a megapascals, we have 28 into 10 to the power of 3 Newton per millimeter square. So just I have converted in terms of a 10 to the power of 4, 2.8 into 10 to the power of 4 Newton per millimeter square. Then the diameter of the aluminium section is given 50 millimeter. We want to find out a stiffness matrix of an element, aluminium element, and a steel element. For that we have Gj by L into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, right? So we have this value here as a given. In a given statement we need to find out this value. We have the diameter. By using this diameter, pi by 32 d power 4 will gives you the value of a polar moment of inertia. Length has been given here. To find out this, we are utilizing the given data. Diameter of the aluminium is 50 mm. Polar moment of inertia for an aluminium pi by 32 DAL means diameter of the aluminium section power 4, that is a 50 power 4 is equals to 61359 into 10 to the power of 5 millimeter power 4. Similarly, we have steel element DS, which is equals to 25 mm. Diameter is given in the statement and in figure. Find out the polar moment of inertia for a steel element. J steel is equals to pi by 32 D steel power 4, that is equals to pi by 32 25 power 4, which is equals to 3.8349 into 10 to the power of 4 millimeter power 4. Then length of the element AL, total length of the aluminium element is 300 mm and the steel element is 300 mm. Now we have to find here a stress induced in each element. Tau is equals to question mark. Now it is very much important. All the data we have taken, what we need to find out, we got the idea, we'll get that one. So here a very much important, we need to identify the given problem to convert as a NFE model. Now a given continuum body is converted in terms of a FE model. FE model, when we'll convert that one, we need to carefully take down the nodes, numbers of nodes. You can easily check here a point A, element will get start, and then another point it's there. Y means a torque has been applied, where the force is will applied. Till there we need to take as a one element, and then similarly the cross section has been get changed at C point, and then here the element will get ends. How many points we have? A, B, C, D means 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a 4 nodes, 1, 2, 3 and 4 nodes. When I'll join 1 to 2, node number 1 to 2 will have a element number 1, 2 to 3 will have a element number 2, 3 to 4 we have a element number 3. As usually what we have solved in a previous problem, we have 3 elements. Here also we have 3 elements. How the 3 elements we got? From 1 to 2, node 1 to 2, the distance is equals to 200, that is equals to L1. The length of the element number 1 is equals to L1, that is equals to given from figure 200 millimeter, this one. Then total length of the aluminium will be is equals to length of the aluminium is equals to 300 millimeter. Then we have element number 2 will get start from node number 2 to 3 and ends at node number 3. So that is equals to L2. L2 is equals to total length of the aluminium, that is from this point, total length of the aluminium minus of this L1 is equals to LAL, total length of the aluminium shaft minus of length of finite element number 1 minus of this value minus of this one. This is equals to L2, that is equals to 300 total length of the element. We have here total length of the element 300 minus 200. We have L2 is equals to 100 mm. Similarly, next L3 we have is equals to 300 from C to D. Only this we have to take care while we'll take the length of the element. Okay, so then we got the how to represent that element, and then he has stated this has been fixed. Now I'll compare that given continuum body in converting in terms of a FE model. What is the first step? The first step of finite element method is a FE model. From figure, in the aluminum element is contain a torque at a distance of 200 from the fixed end. E is considered as a two element. Therefore, the aluminum is a two elements and steel is a one element. Now we got the idea. After getting that idea from the figure, now I have converted that this one is a aluminum element, this one steel element. We have, so aluminum element has converted in terms of a two elements, steel is remain same. We got the idea here. I have applied the torque only at the point B, that is at node number 2. He has shown the torque at node number 4, but there is no value, we are not representing any direction, right? That is equals to 0 and it is also fixed. There is no theta will be get displaced, right? As we know that for element number 1 and element number 2, it is a aluminum material. That diameter of this total aluminum material is equals to 50. For this one, J1 is equals to J2 is equals to JAL and J3 is equals to J steel. We have taken here J1 is equals to J2 is equals to JAL. We have calculated this value. Then this one J3 is equals to J steel. We have calculated this value. GAL, which is equals to G1 G2. Why? The element number 1 is aluminium and element number 2 is an aluminium. G3, element number 3 is a steel element, that modulus of rigidity is given. Then we have element number 1 length is equals to 200 directly given in a diagram. From the diagram we have taken L2 is equals to total length of the aluminum shaft minus L1, then 300 minus 200 is equals to 100 millimeter, and then this will be remain same 300 millimeter L3 for element number 3. Theta 1 is equals to 0, theta 4 is equals to 0 due to ends are fixed given in the problem. Then from figure we have here, when you'll see that figure at this point T1 is equals to 0, I have taken here this one. T2 is given, T3 is equals to 0 and T4 is equals to 0. We have this idea, just that I have taken here. T1 is equals to 0, T3 is equals to 0, T4 is equals to 0, right? But T2 has given, that is equals to 200 Newton meter, that converted in terms of a millimeter, 200 Newton meter converted in terms of a 2 into 10 power of 5 Newton millimeter. See here 200 Newton meter we have taken, where meters 1 meter is equals to 1000 millimeter. Just you multiply this 1000 to this value, will get a 200 into 10 to the power of 3. Just I have removed this one, this becomes a 2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton millimeter. Now second step of finite element method is to determine the elemental stiffness matrix for a given element. Element number 1 I will take KE is equals to GE JE divided by LE, 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Remember this carefully and write down GJ. Don't write it AE. AE for bar element, shaft element GJ. Modulus of rigidity and polar moment of inertia is multiplied, right? We have 3 elements, E is equals to 1 2 3. Element number 1 E is equals to 1. Then this equation is equals to K1 G1 J1 divided by L1, 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, where it is made up of aluminum material G1 GAL. This value we have taken from the figure, and polar moment of inertia we have found for aluminum material. Length of the element we have 200 mm. Substitute all those values in this equation. We have substituted this value in this equation. We have this substituted values. This I have directly taken. When you calculate this value, you have that 85.9 into 10 to the power of 6. 10 to the power of 6 take common and multiply 85.9 in this matrix. You will get a here this elemental stiffness matrix for element number 1. Element number 1 will get start from node number 1 and ends at node number 2, which has a torque T1 Due to this torque T1, theta 1 will takes place at node number 2, torque T2, theta 2 will takes place as a torsional displacement. With respect to the theta 1, first row, first column name will given. With respect to theta 2, second row, second column name has been given. Right? After that, similarly, we'll find out the elemental stiffness for matrix for an element number 2. Modulus of rigidity will remain same. Polar moment of inertia is remain same. Only the length will get changed. Complete stiffness matrix will get changed. So stiffness matrix for an element number 2, K2 is equals to G2 J2 divided by L2 into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Substitute all these values in this equation. We have that substituted values here. Calculate this value, which is equals to 171.80 into 10 to the power of 6 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. So this value you multiply inside and take this 10 to the power of 6 common here, will get this matrix. Elemental stiffness matrix for element number 2, which will lies between the two nodes. Start from node number 2 and ends at node number 3. The element number 2 we have here. When we'll apply the torque at node number 2, T2, theta 2 will takes place as a displacement. When we'll apply the torque at node number 3, T3, theta 3 will takes place. Based on this theta 2, first row, first column name has been given. Based on this theta 3, second row, second column name has been given. Similarly, we have found the both elemental stiffness matrix for aluminum material. When we have discretized a continuum body of aluminum shaft in terms of a two element by using finite element method, we have got the stiffness of those elements. Now the steel element is remains. For this element we have found this stiffness matrix we got. We need to get the stiffness matrix for element number 3. As similar to that, take E is equals to 3, generalized equation we have. Now we need to take G3 is equals to G steel. We have this value from the given statement. We have found that polar moment of inertia from the given problem has a shaft diameter is 25 millimeter for a steel material he has given, and length of the element 300 mm. All the values you substitute in this equation will get this value after calculating this one. Now take down the common 10 to the power of 6, multiply 10.73 inside the matrix. We have this matrix. Then we'll get a elemental stiffness matrix for element number 3. Now the element will get lies between a two nodes. Node number 3 and 4, node number 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the element number 3. When we'll apply the torque at node number 3, as a T3, theta 3 will takes place as a displacement at node number 3. When I'll apply the torque at node number 4, T4, theta 4 will take place at node number 4. Based on this condition, with respect to the theta 3, first row, first column name has given. With respect to theta 4, second row, second column has been given. Why? In a previous derivation and in a previous problem in a shaft, it is similar to that bars problem, but it is a shaft element which occurs a torque, which has a torque in a element. Due to the torque that will affects to the modulus of rigidity and the polar moment of inertia for a given element. When we'll take as a bar, there is having a linear displacement. For the linear displacement, we'll consider a cross-sectional area and modulus of elasticity. But when we'll take the torque, means shear stress will take place. So due to the shear stress will affects to the modulus of rigidity that will be interrelated as per the Hooke's law. Based on that relation, we have derived the elemental stiffness matrix. We are well known how to derive the elemental stiffness matrix, how to calculate the elemental stiffness matrix for a given problem. After calculating that elemental stiffness matrix for a given problem, get the global stiffness matrix. As usually we know that a complete idea in a previous problems, in a previous module we have solved several problems, and in this module we have solved in a part A on a beams problem. Similar method, we have a 3 element, then the global stiffness matrix for a given shaft element K is equals to K1 plus K2 plus K3. Then I have substituted the value of a K1, K2, K3 from this is a K1, then we have this is a K2 and then K3. All these values of a matrix we have substituted in the global stiffness matrix. We got this 3 matrices here. Then we know that FE model has a 4 nodes, and at each node 1 degrees of freedom. When we'll multiply 4 into 1, that is equals to 4, we'll get a 4 cross 4 matrix for a given shaft element. Why? The 4 nodes we have, each node has 2 degrees of freedom. Due to that, each node single degrees of freedom, how many nodes are there, that much numbers of stiffness matrix row and column will get. If we have a 2 degrees of freedom, multiples of 2, 4 nodes into 2 will get a 8 cross 8 matrix. That we have the concept in a module number 1, and we'll have solved the problem on a trusses. I have clearly explained, and in a beams problem I have clearly explained. Just I have brush up the things, recall that and get the idea how to get the global stiffness matrix from the elemental stiffness matrix. We know that we need to choose the row first. We need to identify the first row where exactly it's there with respect to the position of the nodes and their displacement. We have found by using an elemental stiffness matrix. We have a first row here in the first matrix, in a first elemental stiffness matrix. Second and third we don't have any first row. Then first row first column name we have here with respect to theta 1, that is equals to 85.9, and first row second column value we have here minus 85.9. We don't have any third column and fourth column here in this matrix, but we have here, we don't have any row in this two matrix. Then that both values is equals to 0. First row third column and first row fourth column values are equals to 0. We are very well known. So similarly we have to consider a row number 2 where exactly it's there in a matrix number 1 and matrix number 2 for element number 1 and 2 we have, but in the third matrix we don't have any second row. Second row first column value we have minus 85.9. Similarly copy it, and we don't have any value with respect to first column in the second matrix. Plus 0 minus 85.9 plus 0 is equals to 85.9, right? Similarly second row second column we have here 85.9 plus of in a second matrix also we have second row second column value, that is equals to 171.8. 85.9 plus 171.8 is equals to 257.5. Then we have second row third column value we have here minus 171.8. Further we don't have any fourth column with respect to this position of the row. Then second row fourth column value is equals to 0 based on the condition, right? Similarly we need to go for a third row, first column second column third column and fourth column values. How we are getting that third row first column value? Search it in the first elemental stiffness matrix we don't have any third row, and in a second elemental stiffness matrix and third elemental stiffness matrix we have a third row. Consider that one third row first column we don't have in a second element, then that is equals to 0. Third row second column we have minus 171.8. Copy it as it is, but we don't have any values with respect to the second column in the third matrix. Similarly third row third column value we have 171.8 and plus 10.73 in a third matrix. In the both matrix we have third row third column value. Add these two values, we have here 717.8 plus 10.73. then third row fourth column value we have here minus 10.73. then next fourth row fourth column value we need to get, that will complete. In the first matrix and second matrix we don't have any fourth row. In last matrix we have a fourth row first column we don't have 0. Fourth row second column we don't have a 0. Fourth row third column we have minus 10.73. Fourth row fourth column we have a 10.73. After that adding these two values we will get a global stiffness matrix. We know that row name and column name with respect to the nodes. How many nodes we have? 1 2 3 4 nodes we have with respect to first node. First row first column name we have with respect to second row second column name we have with respect to third node third row third column name we have, and with respect to fourth node fourth row fourth column name has we have given as usually in the previous problems. And the units of this stiffness matrix I have directly have taken here Newton millimeter. You are very well known. After getting that global stiffness matrix, get the global angle of twisting vector theta, which is equals to theta 1 theta 2 theta 3 theta 4 in terms of irradiance. Global load vector T is equals to T1 T2 T3 T4. This is at node number 1 node number 2 node number 3. See here, theta 1 at node number 1, theta 2 at node number 2, theta 3 at node number 3, theta 4 at node number 4. Similarly global torque vector we have a T1 T2 T3 T4 at node number 1 2 3 and 4 is given here T1 T2 T3. We need to get that as from the figure we have taken. T1 is equals to 0, T3 T4 is also equals to 0, T2 is given 200 Newton meter has been converted in terms of a 2 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton millimeter. We have here in a given problem only the torque has been applied at this portion. Rest of the nodes what we have considered, that torque here, this is equals to 0, this is a given value, then this is equals to 0, and then this is equals to 0. This is a T1, T3 and T4. Only T2 value is given. Substitute those values in this equation. What I have did here, instead of taking a 2 into 10 to the power of 5, I have taken 0.2 into 10 to the power of 6. 10 to the power of 6 I have taken common. T1 is equals to 0. That value 0.2 into 10 to the power of 6 T2, and then T3 is equals to 0, T4 is equals to 0 Newton millimeter. We have that. These units I have taken from the figure. Already we have converted here. See this. After getting this global stiffness matrix, global displacement vector and global force vector or load vector, bring that all values in terms of equilibrium condition, k theta is equals to t. Then substitute that value I have substituted here. We got the equilibrium equation. After getting that equilibrium equation, next step is applying the boundary condition. See here from figure, and given problem ends are fixed, node 1 and 4 are fixed, and corresponding rows and columns are eliminated, that is row 1 and row 4, column 1 and column 4 are eliminated. From 4 cross 4 matrix becomes a 2 cross 2 matrix. See here how we are eliminating from the figure. He has given the ends of the shaft are fixed, ends he has stated. This is a one end, another end is this one, right? But in the figure he has represented it's free. Point number D is a free. Don't take it as a free. It is not a free based on the given statement. Only in the diagram they have applied the torque. That torque value is not given. Don't have the confusion over there. Don't leave it. That is the reason I am solving this problem. Already I have solved such type of problem in a previous video, right? Remove this confusion in your external examination with respect to the statement in a given problem. I have taken this solution. Clear? So now I'll remove with respect to first row, first column name, that is theta 1 is equals to 0, and last node is theta 4 which is equals to 0. Fourth row and fourth column has been eliminated. Highlighted portion is remains, that is theta 2, theta 3 respective these values, and this value has been remains. See here 10 to the power of 6, 10 to the power of 6 I have cancelled from left hand side and right hand side. Then this value we have taken here. So here what is that value? 257.5 minus 171.8 minus 171.8 182.53 theta 2 theta 3 after eliminating rows and columns 0.2 and 0. Then eliminate this 10 to the power of 6. We are well known how to calculate this value. Two unknowns are there. Use your calculator, go for a mod button 3 times unknown equations we have in that equations. Press it 1 in your calculator, you will get 2 unknowns and 3 unknown characteristics. We have 2 unknowns, theta 2 and theta 3. Press it 2 button and then enter the value of this a1, b1, c1, a2, b2, ct in your calculator. Put it equals button, you will get the x and y value. So that x value which is equals to theta 2, y value which is equals to theta 3. We found that that units are in terms of a radians. After finding this theta 2 and theta 3 represent that displacement vector in terms of a global displacement vector theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4 at each node we have. We know that from figure 0 we have calculated this value theta 2, we have calculated this theta 3 value. From figure this value is 0. After that what he has asked to find out, why we have did this complete exercise to find out the stress induced in a aluminum element and the steel element. Aluminum element has converted in terms of 2 elements. For aluminum itself we will get a 2 shear stresses. See here he has asked to determine what? A maximum stress in a element. Directly we cannot be find without these displacements. With the displacement only we can get whatever it may be the given question. Whatever it may be the given question in your external examination. If he has asked directly, find out the reaction force. If he has asked to find out the directly a shear stress, whatever it may be the given problem, any type of problem if he has given in your external examination, first task to find out is a displacement vector. We need to drive the displacement vector. We need to find out the displacement vector for a given problem. Then it is possible to find out another types of characteristics what he has asked to determine in your given statement. Either he has given to find out the displacement vector, maximum displacements, or not in your given problem in your external examination. First you find out this completely, you will get a maximum 75% marks. Later on, what he has asked to determine, he has asked to determine a stress. 25% of marks is given for the stress. Without this first task, you are not able to determine the shear stress. This is very much important. In the beginning classes also, in the beginning videos also, I have discussed, at any cost you want to drive a displacement vector in a FEM. Then next will comes why the steps involved in FEM. First 6 steps, if you will not do, you will not get the results, you will not get the answers, you will not get the characteristics of the given problem. Clear? So this is the very much important. First step of FEM, any kind of problem is given in your external examination or anywhere, if you are designing any kind of a problem after completing your degree, if you will not adopt these first steps clearly, you will not able to get the answer. This first step from finite element model to the displacement, determining the displacement, is very much important. Later on you will find out the any kind of the value. Now we'll go for determining the stress induced. What is the stress induced in a element? Tau is equals to gr by L minus 1 theta E plus 1. This is generalized equation for a shaft to determine the shear stress induced in a shaft element, right? So how many elements we have considered? We have 3 elements, 1, 2, 3, right? So I'll take element number 1, E is equals to 1, then this becomes tau 1 G1 R1 divided by L1 minus 1 theta E becomes 1, Y E is equals to 1, then theta 1, then this one theta E plus 1 becomes theta 2, right? So we have this, we have found this theta 1 and theta 2 value, substitute that value. G value we know, G1 value is aluminum modulus of rigidity, R is the radius of aluminum element, that diameter is given 50, radius is equals to d by 2, that is equals to 50 by 2. This value I have taken here. Length of the element number 1 is 200 from figure we have taken, and this calculated value from this displacement vector we have substituted. Go through the complete procedure from the previous videos, you will get the complete idea. Solve this matrix and you will get the shear stress induced in a element number 1 of aluminum material for a shaft element. Tau 1 is equals to 7.3066 Newton millimeter square. Similarly, for element number 2, we have this one, tau 2, which is equals to G2 R2 divided by L2 minus 1 theta 2 theta 3. Then substitute all those values, only this get changed, this L2 and this. When I'll say E is equals to 2, theta E becomes theta 2, theta E plus 1 becomes theta 3. These values we have found, just you take down these two values for element number 2, substitute here, calculate this matrix, you will get a stress induced, shear stress induced in element number 2, that is equals to minus 0.861 Newton per millimeter square. Similarly, for element number 3, we have this one, substitute all those values, L3 will get changed, then this G3 will get changed, R3 will get changed. We have here radius of the steel, which is equals to 25 divided by 2. That given diameter of the steel is equals to 25 mm, and radius of the steel, which is equals to 25 divided by 2, which I have taken modulus of rigidity from statement we have taken, length of the element from figure we have taken. Then this will be remain same, E is equals to 3, then theta E becomes theta 3, theta E plus 1 becomes theta 4. Then we have found these values, substitute these values in this equation, then find out this matrix, resolve this matrix, we will get a value of the shear stress induced in a element number 3, that is steel element, is equals to minus 6.874 Newton per millimeter square. This is also a similar type of a problem, only the hollow circular section has taken. J is for hollow, polar moment of inertia is get changed. Equation, only the equation will get changed, polar moment of inertia, that is equals to pi by 32 d naught power 4 minus di power 4. These equations we need to use. D naught means outer diameter, di means inner diameter of the shaft. We have here outer diameter is 80, outside diameter of the shaft and inside diameter of the shaft, substituted value you will get the answer. Here How many numbers of elements are there? You identify it. It is fixed. Force has been applied at the mid, and then it is fixed. We have a uniform cross section of the hollow shaft. It has been not stepped. There is no cross section has been changed from point to point. Uniform cross section from one end to the next end. Hollow circular cross section shaft 2 meter long is firmly supported at each end and has a outside diameter of 80 millimeter and inside diameter of 63.8 millimeter. The shaft is subjected to a torque of 12 kilonewton meter applied at a point 1.5 meter from one end. It is very much important. You concentrate on this statement. The shaft is subjected to a torque of 12 kilonewton meter applied at a point 1.5 meter from the one end. I have considered a right side end. Why the shaft is representing from left towards the right along x-axis? I will consider this is the end. From this end, I will maintain 1.5 meter here. 1.5 meter. 1.5 meter I have taken, and then I have applied the torque here. Clear? So that means from this point to this is an element number 1. From this point to the next end, it is equals to element number 2. See here, the distance from left hand corner towards this applied load is not equal with respect to this distance. Why? We have a total length of the element which is equals to 2 meter. Torque has been applied from the one end, that is equals to L2. This is element number 2. I have considered this is element number 1. L2 which is equals to is given 1.5 meters. This one is L1. L1 is equals to what? L1 is equals to L minus L2. L1 is equals to 2 meters minus 1.5. L1 is equals to 0.5 meters. We got the idea. The element 1 has a length is equals to 0.5. Element 2 has a 1.5 meter. That means L1 is equals to 500 millimeter. Why? That has been defined as a 0.5 meter. We have found L2 is equals to 1500 millimeter is given as a 1.5 meter. These values we have and then converted in terms of a millimeter. That's all. These values will take in your solution. Only these are the values has been got changed. It becomes hollow. Rest of the things are remain same. We are converting this given element continuum body in terms of a two numbers of elements, element number 1 and element number 2 from here. Right? You go through this problem, solve this as an assignment. If you have any doubts, you add in a comment box. I will solve this problem and upload the video of the same problem. If you are not able to solve this problem, if you are not getting the results, I will give you the answer here. For this is the equilibrium equation, and then you have theta 1 and theta 3 is 0, theta 2 is equals to this one. Stress induced in element number 1 is equals to this value, and stress induced in element number 2. If you have any doubts on this problem, you can give me in a comment box, or else send a mail to this mail ID. Send the mail to this mail ID mechmdimran@gmail.com. mechmdimran@gmail.com. Thank you for listening my lecture.